Hello guys, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will see how to render a list inside of a Lightning web component. So to render a list of items, you have two options. First one is either you can use a for each directive inside of a template tag, or you can use the iterator directive inside of the template tag to iterate over an array or list of items. The iterator directive has an advantage, which is you can have first and last properties are available in the iterator directive, which you can use to add some special behaviors to the first and last items in the array. So if you want to add some special behavior to the first and last items, you can use the iterator directive instead of the for each. Now, regardless of which directive you choose, either you choose for each or iterator, you should always assign a key to every item or unique key to every item inside of that array. Okay, so you must use a key directive to assign a unique ID to each item. Now, the reason we do that is so that if a particular item changes, the framework will use the key to re-render only the item which has changed. So that key in the template is used for performance optimization and it is not reflected in the DOM at runtime. So you have to remember you have two options. The first option is either you can use the for each directive, and the second option you have is the iterator. Now the advantage in the case of the iterator directive is it gives you two properties. One is the first and then the second one is the last. Using these property, you can you can add special behavior to the first element in the array and to the last element in the array. So if you want to add some special behaviors, you can use the iterator directive. But for every item in the array, you have to specify the key so that any time an item changes, only that particular item that changed, you can use a key directive to assign a unique ID to each item. And we will use the key to re-render only the item which has changed. Now let's go ahead and talk about the for each first. So in the case of the for each, if you want to access the item, the individual item, you will use for item directive to access the current item in that loop. Okay. And to assign a key to each element in that template, you will use key is equals to unique ID. So every item will have a unique ID. Let's go ahead and take an example here. So we'll iterate over a list of contacts using the for each directive. So I'll go back to my Visual Studio and let's close these open ones and now create a new Lightning component, and I will call it as hello for each. Okay, so this is the name of my component, and inside of this I will be using, let's go ahead and first open our HTML. Here I'll be using a lightning card, and the title is, we'll call it as hello for each. That's going to be the name. And inside of this lightning card, I'll be creating an unordered list, and class is equals to, this is just the CSS version, the same class dash around. In the unordered list, what will I do? I will loop over. So I'll be using template for each. Okay. So this is the tag I'm using, for each tags, and I'm iterating over this contacts property, which I haven't set up yet, which I'm going to. And for accessing individual item, I will be using for item, and we'll call it as contact. Okay, so the every item one by one that I'm iterating over will be storing in this contact. And what will I do here is I will be displaying list key is equals to contact.id, because as I mentioned to you, you have to, every item should have a unique ID. Okay, and we'll be displaying a contact.name comma contact.title. Okay, so contacts is nothing but it's the list of contacts. Now I'm going to set up this list of contacts inside of my JS file. So let's go back here to the JS file, open the JS file, and inside of the JS file I will go and create my contact list. that which is nothing but it's an array. So here I'm going to go ahead and define my contacts is equals to, it's an array. So the first item that I have is ID, the property would be ID, it will have the name, and let's say the name is Amy Taylor, and the title is VP of Engineering. So this is my first item in the array. Let's create another couple of items. So let's go ahead and copy this a couple more times. ID of this one, let's call it 2, and this one is 3. So this is unique ID that I'm giving. Then we have, let's say the name is Michael Jones, and he is VP of Sales. And the third one is Jennifer Wu, and she is the CEO. Okay, and ID is 2 and his. Okay. So now we have done is we have created the contacts array, and inside of our HTML we are using this for each directive, which is inside of a nested template. Okay, so in the for each directive we are saying that we are iterating over the list of contacts, and the list of contacts for every item that we have, we are assigning it in this variable called contact. So we have 3 items. Okay, one is the VP of Engineering, then we have VP of Sales, and the third one is the CEO. So the first time the contact will be holding this value. So we'll display the ID 1, and the name would be whatever the name we have, Amy here. And then it will go for the second element. It will display the name and the title, right? So the ID key would be the 2 here. Contact name would be Michael, and the title would be VP of Sales. Then next time it will be holding this third element, which is the ID would be 3. So the key becomes 3. The name is Jennifer Wu, and then she is the CEO. So this is how you render a list inside of a Lightning Web Component. So you're using for each. So we are iterating over the list of contacts, or we can say the array of contacts. And for every item, we are assigning it in this variable, you can say called contact. And then we are using this variable to access the name and the title. And we are also setting up the key for every item. Now we're going to update the meta file. So we'll set it this to true, and then we'll set up the targets. Now let's go ahead and push the changes. So it says the changes are failed. Let's see what's the error. Invalid HTML syntax, unexpected character, and uncoded attribute value. Okay, so going back to this one, I think there is an error here. This title is equals to, there were 2 equal to sign. Let's go ahead and push the changes. Push is successful. Let's go back to our org, or let's open the default org here. And let's add the component that we created on this home page. Okay, so we'll go back to the service app. Let's edit this page. And here, let's add the component that we just created, which is hello for each, and we'll add it, let's say, under here, and hit the save button. Now, if you go back to the home page, you will see that the for each component is added. And you can see here, first one is Amy Taylor. That's the name of the contact, and then the title of the contact with a comma in between. Then second contact is Michael Jones, and then he's the VP of the sales. So then it's title, Jennifer Wu is the name, and then CEO is the title. So this is how you can render a list on a Lightning Web Component using the for each. Similarly, we have an iterator to do the same exact thing. And we will talk about that in the next tutorial.